All right, switching back now to the address last night. President Trump's congressional address to Congress was so long, it made history, and it gave us lots to unpack after a whirlwind 6 weeks in office. Let's bring in Rhona Tarrant, the executive editor of CBS News Confirmed. Rhona, great to see you. Your team had a late night last night. They spent all night fact-checking President Trump's speech. So let's begin with Trump's claim that millions of people over the age of 100 are receiving Social Security. Let's listen to his remarks from last night, and we'll catch in with you on the other side.
Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old. It lists 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129.
Millions of people over the age of 100 are receiving Social Security. Rhona, what did your team find?
Well, this is something that President Trump and Elon Musk have said for a number of weeks. The idea that there are a lot of people over the age of 100, 120, 150 even, who are receiving Social Security payments. Now, we have been looking into this. There is no evidence for this. And there's a few things to point to here. One, the most recent thing is there was a statement actually from the acting chief of the Social Security Administration. And he said in sort of this long statement, there was one line that was quite interesting. Just because you're in the system for the Social Security Administration does not mean that you're receiving benefits. Now, what that means is they have databases of people everybody who, for example, has received a Social Security number. That does not mean that you're receiving payments. There are also people in the system, for example, who they have no death record on file for, or for some people who were in the system a long time ago, no birth record for. So just because those people are in the system does not necessarily mean they're getting payments. Now, we also kind of digged into a few things. Now, what are the checks and balances in place? They have a system in place where once you pass 115 years old, your payments actually get cut off. We also looked at previous reports from the Office of the Inspector General. Now, their whole job is to figure out waste and abroad in the Social Security Administration. And there was a few interesting things. One is a report from 2023. They said there are around 44,000 people above the age of 100 who are receiving payments. Now, we compare that to the census of 2020, and there are around 80,000 people. So that's very much within that realm. And the final thing to say is it's not that there's no fraud within Social Security. There was a report back in 2024 where they looked at fraud, and they found that, these were payments, about less than 1% of total payments between 2015 and 2022 were fraudulent. We looked for any example in that report that maybe, for example, it was somebody over 150 years old, and we could find no evidence of it. So for that reason, we found that to be false.
All right. Well, Elon Musk, Rhona, was also in the audience, and Trump thanked him and claimed that DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, has been finding widespread fraud. Let's play back some of his comments on that.
Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud.
Rhona, your team actually looked into the data surrounding those DOGE cuts. What can you tell us?
So President Trump was claiming there were hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fraud. Now, we have seen no evidence for this. The best insight we have is this DOGE website, and they have a thing called Wall of Receipts, where they're itemizing all of these contracts they say they're cutting. Now, that itemization, it's less than $9 billion, so certainly not hundreds of billions. And even within that $9 billion, there are numerous errors. So the I unit here at CBS and the Confirmed team actually dug into this. And we found that, for example, some contracts were counted multiple times, or they were citing incorrect figures. So we know that within that there are numerous errors. So there's no evidence so far that we have seen that they have actually identified hundreds of thousands of dollars or billions of dollars worth of fraud. When the White House was asked about this, the Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that, they believe that all of these are waste and abuse and fraud, that arguably any of these contracts are a waste of American taxpayer dollars, but none of them actually called out fraud specifically.
We also heard Trump talk about retaking the Panama Canal. This is a goal that he's talked about since the start of his presidency. And he made this claim last night. Let's play back those comments.
The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work. They paid them very highly to go there, knowing there was a 25% chance that they would die.
So what did CBS News find out about that?
So it is true that a large number of people died building the Panama Canal, but historical records don't line up with that 38,000 figure. Now, during the French era of building the Panama Canal, we know around 22,000 workers died. Following that, there was an American-led era of building the Panama Canal. Now, we dug through those historical records last night. We found that on record, around 5,600 workers died during that American era. But they weren't all American. Around 350 of them were American, but a lot of them were from the West Indies. So even if you count up the French era and the American era, it doesn't add up to 38,000, and they certainly weren't all Americans.
Rhona Tarrant with CBS News confirmed. Thank you so much for all that hard work last night.